Hey everybody, welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. We have special guest Richard Eskow from the 0 Hour is with us. Hi, Richard. How are you?
I'm great, man. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Everybody check out the 0 Hour. Where can they find it?
This is the0hour.com or patreon.com/the0hour.
All right. So we're going to be talking about the civility debate that's been going on. And so we've addressed it in other clips. Also, Alan Dershowitz wrote he wrote an Onion piece that got circulated by The Hill. And so with me, what I said, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Richard, is when does it go from being normal political debate and opinions like, hey, I think we should raise taxes, I think we should lower them. When does it go from that to hey, you are a Nazi and I have to stand up and stop you, right? So when does it become when I have to take action? There comes a time, right, when you have to take action. Some people go, so that's what the debate has been here. When does it go from being, okay, I should respect your opinion to, hey, if your opinion is, fascism, I don't have to respect it. And in fact, I need to fight it. So that's the question. And so let me just give you some pretty funny examples. Well, here's a guy, this guy, Michael McFaul is, do you know this guy, right? He's usually wrong about everything, and he's one of those guys. And so Bill Kristol had tweeted out, Republicans, listen to Reagan on trade, act to stop Trump's foolishness, right? So, and he tweets out a little 30-second thing of Reagan talking about trade. And then Michael McFaul, he retweets and says, and listen to Reagan on immigration and dealing with dictators and supporting human rights and being respectful of one political opponents. Okay, that's a mouthful, Michael. Then someone kind of right underneath that said, Reagan supported death squads in Central America and was in favor of apartheid in South Africa. I guess you could say he supported human rights if you don't believe those populations count as human. And then he said, I just posted about that. He had a mixed record for sure.
So if I murder you, but not Ron, I have a mixed record on murder.
Yes, you do.
I'm not a murderer. I have a mixed record.
Yeah, you have a mixed record.
Okay, got it. See, that's the morality right there.
So my question is, Reagan really was doing that stuff. That he really was supporting death squads. They really were killing innocent people, priests, right? And what were they? Again, it's the natural thing that we do in Central and Latin America and South America is if you're our lefty, we crush you, and then we install a right-winger to give all your natural resources to Western corporations. And so,
like we did in Honduras during the Obama administration with the open approval of Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, who said that the military coup there should not be overthrown and encouraged them not to bring the rightfully elected president back into office.
Correct. So my question would be, so Trump is separating babies from their mother at the border. Now, people really care about that because it's happening here.
Right.
But Barack Obama had a kill list. 90% of the people he killed were civilians with his drone kill list. He's literally killing innocent people. And we knew it. So how come nobody yelled at Barack Obama's administration when they were in restaurants? That would be my question. Barack Obama, they were torturing Chelsea Manning. Barack Obama.
Right.
We knew they were torturing a patriot and a whistleblower, and nobody went and yelled at any of his people in his cabinet. Why?
Well, Chelsea was one of the folks. Tortured some folks.
Our goddamn country runs a fucking torture facility for not going 3 administrations.
Because they like his style. Because because he holds the right fork. Because he's one of us. One of us, in quotes. I think that this is such an important question that people are become so attached to candidates as heroes and Democrats are just as guilty of this as Republicans. That it's not just somebody that got voted into office. Maybe you voted for them. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you like what they did here and you don't like what they did there. And you feel as like, conscientious person, maybe as part of a larger movement to make the world a better place. You're going to hammer them on this, and maybe you'll give them a little, pellet or something, a little jolt of approval when they do something right. Because people then, they just want to think, oh, he's so wonderful. I love my president. I love, it's liberal authoritarianism. It's you outsource your own conscience to a person that you find charismatic and appealing. It's one of the things that's really wrong about our democracy today.
We've said that those same sentiments on this show many times, and those cages that those kids are in, they were built by the Obama administration, right? So now, what we were hoping for, in a sense, the silver lining, if there is one, to a Trump presidency, is that he now puts an ugly face on the horrible stuff that we've been doing, and people are waking up to it. So now people were tweeting out pictures of kids in cages from the Obama administration saying, this is Trump. And they're like, no, this is what's been going on, buddy. So now that is actually happening. So let me give you one more. Let's do one thing. Here's Schumer says, it's not American to call for harassment of political opponents. So that's not American? I don't know. This country was faced on a fucking revolution where we decided to kill our political opponents. That's a fact. Also, the Civil War. Okay, so say it's not American. It ignores history. Let's put it that way. Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe it's not a modern day American value. I'll give you that. But then this is, I think, by the way, Adam Johnson caught this over at Fair. I'm pretty sure that's where I got it. I got this off Twitter, so I can't remember exactly where I got it. But then here's Chuck Schumer. Schumer says it makes sense to strangle Gaza economically until it votes the way Israel wants. Right. So apparently it's not, you shouldn't harass political opponents, but you should fucking economically strangle them.
Yeah, just be polite in your words while you're doing it.
Like Bibi Netanyahu is polite. That's the kind of politeness that
while you're shooting them.
And kids, by the way.
While you're taking their medicine away, you be polite about it.
It is horrible when kids are put in cages, but you know what else is horrible? When kids are put in a giant cage in fucking Gaza, pardon my language, and everybody says, well, we may have a little difference on Israeli policy. No, we don't have a little difference. We have a life and death difference on Israeli policy. And if you think that's okay, you and I have fundamentally different moral values. So Chuck Schumer saying, we're polite. Chuck Schumer thinks it's okay to be polite to Elliot Abrams, who directed those death squads for Ronald Reagan, who then worked for George W. Bush, who's still around. All these people still have, what's the name of the guy, Negroponte, all these people who did these horrible things. You can see them at the dinner parties. Yes. They're fine. Yeah, can I get you, an hors d'oeuvre or whatever.
Henry Kissinger still, he just got honored by Harvard.
And I met Daniel Ellsberg this weekend.
Oh, you did?
And I was thinking about it. He gave me his book, and I was reading his book on the plane. I was thinking, here's a guy who everybody loved him because he released and by everybody, I mean this kind of people we're talking about now, right? The voter shamers. He released the Pentagon Papers during the Nixon administration. What would they have said if he released the Pentagon Papers during the Barack Obama administration or the John F. Kennedy administration? Would they, or the Bill Clinton administration, wouldn't they have said what they're saying about Edward Snowden now? He wouldn't be their hero. He would be their enemy because you know what? I like that president. He's charismatic. He makes me feel good about myself.
Well, we don't have to imagine what they would say. It actually happened. Edward Snowden and Chelsea Manning actually happened. And how did the government respond to it? Well, they decided to torture Chelsea Manning.
Right.
Literally torture Chelsea Manning. That's how Barack Obama, his government handled it, and he allowed it to happen. So we have a whistleblower telling truths about the crimes our government commits, and then Barack Obama tortures that guy. That's his reward for doing that. And then we have Edward Snowden, who's also a pariah, and they revoked his visa, so he's stuck in Russia. So he didn't go to Russia by his own volition. Like, he didn't want to stay there. They revoked his visas when he was in transit, so now he's stuck there. And so it's good political propaganda for him, but we know exactly how they deal with it, Ron.
Well, and let's not forget what Julian Assange is going through.
Look at Julian Assange.
You want to talk about the way whistleblowers are being treated and how especially Democratic establishment. I mean, Julian Assange used to be a hero. Then all of a sudden he revealed some stuff that made the DNC look bad, and he's to blame for all this now, and they don't care what he's going through.
So have you seen this? It's the paradox of tolerance, it's called. So it's called The Paradox of Tolerance, and it's by philosopher Karl Popper. And over there it says, should a tolerant society tolerate intolerance? And then this guy says with the Nazi thing on his forehead, you want more tolerance, respect my ideas. Right? So, but the philosopher says, should a tolerant society tolerate intolerance? No. The answer is no. You should not tolerate intolerance. Right? So they're saying if someone is a Nazi, you should not tolerate that behavior. All right. So then down here it says, when we extend tolerance to those who are openly intolerant, the tolerant ones end up being destroyed, and tolerance with them. And he's using, again, the Nazi example. Any movement, the bottom panel, any movement that preaches intolerance and persecution must be outside of the law. As paradoxical as it may seem, defending tolerance and requires to not tolerate the intolerant. So if you want to defend tolerance, it requires not tolerating the intolerant, because if you're intolerant, your views are outside of the law. That's what they're saying. So if you're advocating fascism, if you were advocating for against rights for gays, so that's what they're saying. You can't tolerate you can't say, well, I respect your opinion, although people do. Like, I never respected people's opinions when they said, well, I don't think gays should be married. Well, I don't respect that opinion. So I don't understand why you have to. So that's what this guy says, Karl Popper. Again, it's a really tough call, because every administration is doing war crimes, right? Of the United States, right? So you go back to Ronald Reagan. We just talked about him. Bill Clinton. Well, Chomsky says that any president would, if you applied the Nuremberg rules, standards, they would all be war criminals. So I guess we're okay when our presidents and our governments are hurting people overseas. But when they do it to people right here at the border in our country, we get upset. Well, we're not that upset. We let them kill 1,000 black guys every year in the street. But go ahead.
And part of it's the limitations of empathy, that people can empathize with kids that they see in cages and they know it's Texas or Maryland or whatever, but somehow it seems they can't empathize with the kids who are on the wrong end of a missile, a drone missile being fired in Yemen, and that's their failure. That's their moral failing. It's not anybody else's. It's them. If you're not as upset about a kid being killed by a drone missile in Yemen as you are by a kid being held in a cage away from his parents, then you have a moral shortcoming that you need to work on. I'm sorry. It works that way.
Well, and let's keep in mind, we live in a country where we have a media. They love to show those weapons taking off. They never show them landing.
That's right.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Brian Williams likes to nut in his pants when the missiles take off. But, hey, when you want to see if they blew off someone's head, Brian, you still got a heart on? Probably. He probably does.
Yeah, well, I don't know. But
so I get here's the big debate. Should you tolerate intolerance, and what constitutes intolerance? So these are all, I thought that when we were going to the Iraq War, I knew it was a war crime. I knew it was wrong. You probably did at the same time. Anybody who I think advocated, like when the politicians said, well, the evidence, they were lying, right? Because I'm dumber than they are, and I knew it was bullshit. And so they knew obviously they knew that it was a lie. And so they're the moral superior of no one, the people who voted for the Iraq War. They're moral superior of no one. They're all murderers. If you voted for the Iraq War, you're a murderer. Do you agree with that statement? I mean, that's a pretty big statement for me to make, but I can make it because I'm beholden to no one, and I'm a nightclub comedian, and I don't have to answer to anybody, and I'm not looking for a job in politics. But I don't know, could someone like you say something that bold? Would you agree with that, or would you shoot down?
Yeah, in a sense. I mean, I certainly think if you voted for that war, you have a lot of amends to make. And if you voted for that war because you believed them, then you're stupid and you need to get smarter.
Do you really believe that anyone believed that they had WMDs? Are you fucking kidding me?
I think people believe what they want to believe.
Yeah.
I think that as long as somebody says to me, if I'm one of these people, and I'm a senator, and I'm Hillary, or I'm John Kerry, and I want to run for president, and somebody says to me, well, they really, how about if we get General Powell down here to tell you that it's true? Then I say, okay, General Powell. I think that's the moral elasticity that takes place. But Bernie didn't vote for it.
No.
Barbara Lee didn't vote for it. So yes, I knew it was bullshit too, and yet 90% of this country, I don't know about you, but I felt like an alien in my own country.
Me too.
You know, I just, who are these people?
But that's
They're cheering this. I was in the gym and everybody starts cheering when it's like, really? You know, people are getting killed. Those bombs are not falling on, you know, empty lots.
You dehumanize the other. You make, yeah, exactly. You know, the first Gulf War, the MTV did a series with a teenager who lived in Iraq. And then they had to stop that as soon as the bombing started. They were like, oh, this is getting too real. Now we got to know somebody we're bombing. And so they never did that again. You have to dehumanize. You know, that's why you're not allowed in war to, if you fraternize with the enemy, that's like treason, right? You can be charged, charged for that. And why? Why is that? Why can't you fraternize with the enemy? Because after you look at a picture of a guy's kids, you can't fucking kill him, you know? So once you get to know someone, you can't kill him. We were getting to know Iraqis. And once, by the way, Anthony Bourdain said the Iraqis nicest people he's ever met, and he's been all over the world. He said, I knew they were nice, but the nicest? Iran, I'm sorry, that's right, Iran. Thank you for pointing that out.
You got ahead of yourself on the war schedule.
I said, but the Iran's coming.
You got the next war instead of the last one.
The next one's coming. Iran is coming. So, but what? Just overall on this civility debate, what are your thoughts?
Well, you know, I have a lot of thoughts about it. I mean, first of all, Maxine, you know, I could say, well, Maxine Waters, maybe, you know, maybe she shouldn't have said what she should. Maybe she's playing in the political arena. She should have stuck to the political arena. I don't know. But once she said it, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, whatever happened to solidarity? What happened to you back up your people? Whatever happened to, you know what? You just keep your mouth shut. If you think she didn't say the right thing, say something else. You don't have to knock her. You don't have to call people un-American because they have a different view of things that you do. And you know what? My first thought was, you know, she shouldn't have said that, but what the hell are Schumer and Pelosi doing? And then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, why shouldn't she say that? Why shouldn't she say, and I felt this way during the last Bush administration too, and I remember having it when Ezra Klein was still here in town. He and I had an online argument about it. I was like, no, I'm not going to sit down and have cocktails with Condoleezza Rice. No, because I'm not going to come to her piano recital. She did a piano recital at USC or something. No, I don't want to hear her play piano. She's killing a bunch of kids in Iraq. I know, sorry, I'm not going to show up. And gee, can't we like just kind of be courteous to one another? No, not me, you know. And if Condoleezza Rice walked into a restaurant, well, whoever, John Bolton walked into a restaurant next to me right now, I'd probably say, look, you know, if you're not leaving, I am, because I'm not going to have dinner with you. You know, I'm not going to. And if that's uncivil, too bad. Because you know what? Nothing that I do could possibly hold a candle to what happens every minute of every day because of what these people are doing. So the more I thought of it, Chuck Schumer radicalized me on this issue because I thought, you know, politically, my political hat on, yeah, it's okay, they're kind of going to use that against it. You know what? So fucking what? So they'll use everything against us. How about if we just play offense 24/7 from now on? And if Maxine Waters says something on this subject that you don't like, so you know what? That's my sister over there, and I'm not saying she is because I have my differences with her in other ways. But you know, that's my ally. Don't mess with my ally, or I'll take you down. How about that for an attitude?
Well, it's funny that, you know, immediately Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi threw Maxine Waters under the bus. And you know, the Republicans never denounced Trump.
Right.
For the stuff when he says things that people would be, you know, that find offensive or whatever. They're never when he's anyway.
You know why they know? Because
because the Republicans are strong and they don't give a fuck, and Democrats are weak.
And the Republicans know you don't get anything for doing that.
That's right.
Nobody says, "Oh, I like Nancy now." Nobody says that they hate her. They're going to still hate her. You get nothing.
Oh, you're right. That's such a great point. That's the point that people are missing. I missed. Is that when Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi come out and denounce Max, you don't get anything for it. Nothing. What do you get? You don't win any political points. You piss off people on your left, and you're not placating the people. And the people on the right are going to go, you know what? That Nancy's okay. That's not going to happen.
Right.
They're never going to go, you know what? Maybe we should give them the benefit of the doubt next time. That's not happening. You're exactly right. You get nothing for it. And Republicans know that,
right?
Which is why they always fight better. You know, also there's that whole thing of they're chosen, right? The Democrats are chosen to be weak. They're chosen to roll over. They're chosen that way. I mean, okay. I can't believe that how they folded on DACA and still people think they're the resistance somehow. Somehow the Democrats are the resistance. They're not. They're the assistants all the way, 100%. Hey, please make sure you subscribed. Even if you think you are, you probably aren't. It only takes a second to check. And then click that bell to make sure you get a notice every time we drop a video. They won't tell you every time anyway, but it's the only thing we can do to fight back against the bastards. So please make sure you're subscribed and click that bell. And our next live show is July 15th in Chicago. And after that, July 27th in Burbank, California. Special guest on that show, Abby Martin. And if you could become a patron, that would be fantastic. We give you hours of bonus material every week. Thanks for your support.